Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebookers, or if you're in the Eastern States, good afternoon already. Myself and the lovely Sarah I have here today. So it's Business Tips Monday, and as I've said before, we're talking all about video as a theme. For those of you who don't know, we're kind of down the rabbit hole of videos at the moment, which is friggin' amazing. And also on trend, guys. If you're not using video of some description in your marketing already, you need to actually get onto it and make sure that you are. So I've just realized I've got the wrong glasses on, so
we better
hang on a sec.
We gotta make sure you
Put
can
on
see.
the glass. It's not the C part, it's the anti-glare.
Oh, there we go.
So as before, guys, when we're doing this one, we're going to stay on a while. If you have any questions, let us know and we'll answer the questions, but I'm not going to say hello everybody that comes on, because we can copy and paste this and use it somewhere else. We can make it a YouTube video, and we don't want to be saying hello to everyone. You can say hello to our little mouse in the background.
Oh.
This is Mary Elaine, my very good friend, actually painted that, so there you go, Mary Elaine. So we're going to talk about 3 areas today. So we've talked before, I've showed you my setup and everything. I brought you into my little house in my background. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of images in and all sorts of images in your video. We're also going to be talking about your story, as in what story that you tell in the video. And then we're going to be talking about transitions in video. And what I mean by that is, you know, the way you'll see some of these things and a box goes around and you see the person appear. So when to use them, when not to use them in your videos. So it's kind of exciting. So when we start to talk about images, and Sarah is does a lot of copywriting and builds a lot of awesome pages as well, let me tell you. So she's a really good eye for her stuff. So what do you think is the most important thing that people need to know about images?
Right. Well, images, I guess we could be a stock photo image.
Yep.
Is one. It could be your own images that you've taken on your phone, or images that you've taken on a camera, or that someone else has taken of you at an event. So you sort of have to start thinking about the resolution of images. We want really clean, crisp images, photos, if we're using those, especially in video. We don't want anything blurry or looking a little amateur or a little yeah. So I mean, it's not always that you can get the best photos, but there are ways that we can sort of tweak them a little bit, even if it's just in some of those editing, even in just I think it's on photos on your desktop, like you can just change the brightness of them, just make them pop a little bit. So
so one thing I do know, and this happened to me when I was doing my ebook, was I got all these images, and there's lots of free ones, by the way, guys, that are really good quality, but I downloaded them, but when I went to put them into my ebook, they were too big.
Yes.
How do you make them smaller?
Wow, it's a bit of a technical thing. Look, there's 2 ways that you can size a photo, essentially. So one, I mean, a quick way is using Paint. So I think most of us have that on a Microsoft Office. So I pull that in, and then you can literally choose the size of it. So that's the pixel size across and the pixel size down. So if it's way too big, it might be like 5,000 pixels wide. We might want to crop that down, I don't know, 350, 550, depending, that sometimes for a website about that size. So that's where you can go in and manually change it.
So changing the size, because this was the thing I didn't know.
I can't believe you're asking me all this. Like, this is stuff that even I'm still learning.
Yeah. No, but for me, all it kept telling me was the images are too big, we can't upload your file, blah, blah. Is it just the actual physical size of it that stops it, or is it the quality and the pixels in behind it that stop it, if that makes sense?
Yeah, look, again, I'm not overly versed in that side of things, but essentially it'll say usually if something's too big to bring in, it'll have like it's so many megabytes or gigabytes, like we're getting up into high territory. So say something for a website, I sort of aim for around like I think it's 100 kilobytes sort of maxish, or you might go a little bit bigger for like a big header or something. For video, it will just depend on the program you're bringing in, and it'll say whether it's too big or not. But yes, so there were 2 ways of dealing with photos that I use. So one is just in Paint, you can manually resize. The other one is if you've got Photoshop, use Photoshop. You can go and scale the image. The second one, or the alternative to that, is a freebie called GIMP, GIMP. It's similar to Photoshop. I find it not quite as user-friendly, but in saying that, I use it all the time. And it's a similar function. You can go in there and scale your images.
Awesome.
And, those sort of programs are great as well if you just want to change the lighting a bit, put a bit more contrast in, that sort of thing.
Cool. And there's lots of places to actually get free images. So, it's good to use your face in an image. If you have really good quality images and your business is, especially if it's coaching, consulting, that sort of thing, to use your face in it. But don't use old tatty where the colour is not great in it, because they can start to look very unprofessional. So you want good, clear images. But more than that, with the images have to give a message.
Yes.
So there's no point whatsoever, for example, if you're running a business that sells pottery and all your photographs are about cows in the back garden, like it just doesn't match. So remember that we have a visual bias. So when you're telling a story, which we'll go into in a minute, but the images themselves are already telling a story. People can, connect the links. That's the word I'm trying to say. They can connect the links by seeing a story. Think of a cartoon, for example. You can start to see. So if somebody is talking about weight loss is a primary example, before and after photographs for weight loss, and that contrast there are really, really pivotal in it, and tell a story without even using any words before you use them. So you can also, guys, there's lots of free ones. And if you're in Perth, you need to come to the workshop that we're running in 22nd, 23rd of February, because we're going to give you all of the free places that you can get video images. So it's not just plain images.
Yeah, moving images.
Yeah, moving images. You can get video images that kind of connect in with your story, and other images, all free of charge and all royalty free. That's what I'm trying to think of.
And I was just going to say, like, we were talking about how do you choose an image. So say you are building up a bit of a montage, and you might have photos of you, and then you want to bring some other photos maybe showing your ideal client, like a before and after. Or a lot of what I do when I'm choosing images is, what is the message you're trying to say, and what is the emotion that you're trying to elicit through your words. So as a copywriter, it's a lot about emotional writing, like how are we getting the reader, or in this case the viewer, involved and emotionally engaged. So the image is key to that. So it's not uncommon for me to be trawling stock photo sites for hours trying to find the key image that really just conveys that emotion, that doesn't look too forced or fake. There's so many stock images out there these days that it's hard. You got to find those ones that don't look too posy. And that people have seen it all before. So I think kind of like, if it looks a bit naff, don't use it. Like, you can kind of tell those stock photos that you're like, I don't know, that's a bit staged. So it's really trying to find if there's going to be a person in there. Do they look like my ideal client? Are they in a similar age bracket, or are they dressed the same, or does it, it's finding that person in the image that is going to resonate with the person you're really trying to talk to.
Absolutely. So they can look at it and say, oh yeah, she's like me, or he's like me.
Identifying with it, resonating with it. And again, the emotion in the photo matching the words that you're saying in your video.
Because I'm just laughing because I'm thinking, if your ideal client is a woman of a certain age, for example, which seems to be a huge amount of clients at the moment, and you put teenage boys on it, photos on it, other than thinking of their kids, it's not going to match who you're talking to and what you're saying. So images are vital, guys, because we have a visual bias for everything. We can see something really quick and make a decision about it before we even get to the words. Now, the words are really powerful as well, and that's why we talk about, and in a couple of weeks we're going to be talking more about copy and the words, but it's really important to get those words. But if you haven't got some kind of an image, if it's something on TV, or it's something on a screen, or it's on your phone, where most people are looking most of the days, then it's not going to catch them. They're not even going to read the words. So images are vital for your success, and especially if you're using them in videos as well. So you can use a lot of still images in videos, and we're going to talk about transitions in a moment. So we've touched on story a little bit. So that's number 2. So number 1 was images. So we've touched on story with the images. So you need to tell a story in your video, and that's kind of the theme we're working on. Even if you're doing a link for a sales page, you need to tell a story. You need to bring your client somewhere. And so tell us, Sarah, what's the number 1 thing Well, top 3 things, maybe we'll go. Top 3 things that you look at, especially when you're working for somebody else as a copywriter. What's the top 3 things you need to know in order to bring that person on a story?
So definitely knowing their ideal client's core desire. So that's definitely something. So, and that really is anything in your marketing, like whatever that message is, whatever that story is, wherever you're trying to take them, it has to match what it is that this person wants and the pain and the problems that your solution fixes. So starting point is you've got to know your avatar. I know you love avatar, Carmel. But it's that core desire and those core motivators. So, and they need to be in, nearly every part of your marketing strategy has to be hitting this.
So when we talk about core desires, just for example, one thing I know, some people get copywriters to do the work. Some people learn from a copywriter, whatever. But it's really important if you are going to transfer any of that you know what it is in order to communicate it. But when we talk core desires, sometimes people don't quite know what that means. So a core desire to you, if you could put it very briefly, how would you best describe it?
So a core desire is obviously getting beyond surface level desires. So, a business owner might desire more cash flow in their business. And that's great. I think we probably would all love that, right? No one's going to turn that down. But what is driving that need? When they say, I want more money or I need more sales, what is actually going on? There's a bigger, juicier, more primal kind of thing going on there. And what I find quite a good way to sort of start unpacking it is have a look at the 6 core needs, which I know that you know quite a lot through your coaching journey, understanding those. So it's coming down to like, what is it that human beings actually need? And there's some dualities in those needs. So if they need more money, it may be that they
have an alarm on my phone.
It might be actually that they're desiring some more certainty in their life. And so that's actually the core desire, is to have more certainty. And so we can sort of build on that.
And is it also to do with what they're going to get when they get that? So they might say they want more money. However, what is more money going to give them? If you start thinking like that, what is that more money? So it may be house, it may be whatever, but underneath that, it is the certainty and the safety that they can support themselves, that they can support their loved ones, that they won't have to go out and get a job if they're running their own business, just for example.
It's always like that push and pull between a pain and pleasure motivation. And so often their core desire, you could label it as like an away from a painful experience or a negative and towards a positive. But they often go hand in hand, if that makes sense. They can sort of be opposite.
In general, people will move further away from pain than they will towards pleasure, but they'll think they're moving towards pleasure. Is quite often what it is. And guys, if you have any questions, by the way, please put them in. If you're watching this later, hashtag replay and put the questions in, and we'll answer all of your questions. So thanks for hanging in where you are so far. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So we've got to the story and the importance of doing it. So getting down deep into what it is. Now, I've had some people say to me, oh, I don't do any of this problem type marketing. Well, let me tell you, I'm not talking about going in and going, you're this, you're that. But if you don't talk to the elephant in the room, they're not going to hear you. Why would they know, like, and trust you if you don't understand them? And there's so many people that feel they go into these courses. I see them. They go into courses or they do an online course, but they're sitting in the back kind of going, yeah, I don't get it. They don't get me. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but that doesn't apply to me. So when you can kind of bring that up and say, yeah, I get you might be thinking this, and address that problem in the room, then people are already going to come with you. It makes it easier.
And it's the story aspect of it, is that real connection and rapport. So, and often your story is their story. Or someone you know's story is their story, depending on your business. But often we're in business because we struggled with something, we found a solution, and now we want to share it back with someone else. So it's not necessarily like, oh my God, what the hell is my story? I mean, think of where you were maybe 5 years ago and how you help people because of a breakthrough you had or something that you learned. So it's bringing in, I always like to think it's not like selling, like, pushing pain and that
Never
real like icky stuff. It's about solving. We're here to solve people's problems and serve them in a genuine and authentic way. And story helps with that because, we've listened to stories and read stories since kids. There's something about it that just enthralls a listener or a reader
and if you don't help those people, who will? You know that you've got stuff to offer, and you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, why can't I make all this money? I know everyone I talk to, they say it's great, blah, blah, blah. Well, because you're not visible enough, and you need to get on bloody video is one way of starting it.
And coming back to video, I mean, if you feel comfortable and confident to put your face to it, it just adds to the story. It adds to the connection value.
But you don't have to. You can do them without that. So the next thing comes to, so we've talked about images and story, and it's vital to just bring people on a journey, and there's an ebb and flow and a way of doing that so that we bring them to where they need to be and allow them to, I often liken it to, I give you a fruit platter, you decide if you want to choose something from it. Now, the third part that we're talking is transitions. Now, what I mean by transitions is you've all seen the videos that there's transition after transition after transition.
Yeah, it's all that animation flips and fades in,
the big square that goes like that, and sometimes it's a bit clunky. If you actually look at TV, just for example, quite often there isn't transitions. It just literally jumps. Start having an eye for it. Now, you won't be able to not see it. Start having an eye for it when, a guy's walking down a corridor and it's all quiet and it flips to the girl that's in the other house or whatever. Have a look at it. There's no actual transitions. There's no big box that goes like that. So sometimes we don't have to have as many transitions as we may think we need, purely because the story is already, remember, the human mind thinks very fast. So the story can go, that's it, that's where there, and think about the last thing you watched, maybe on Netflix, on TV, on Stan or something like that. What kept you interested? Was the story? You weren't thinking transitions, but if they had a big box like this every time they went down. So it's important to use them sometimes. Especially if you want to break in the story to change something, you need to change the viewer, particularly in some of our videos. For example, we finish the video and then we change to give them the information of where they can contact us. Then that's a square transition instead of just going, stop dead, and here's this.
I think the transitions are a good way to influence and control the mood and the energy of a video. So you often see maybe the front end of a video, which we will call the intro for this purpose, is maybe a bit flashy, and it's kind of like zoom, 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 and a bit of branding, and and a bit of music, and that catches people's attention. It gets the buzz up, people are excited. So you can use these sort of like transitions and animations and that kind of techie stuff, but there are ways around it that are actually pretty easy. But you can use that at the start to grab the attention. But if it was like that the whole thing, like even just 3 minutes of that, it would get potentially exhausting, and then that core message may get lost. So it's a little bit of use your discretion on when you do bring in some of those. So
use them appropriately. And again, transition you can have when, for example, and if you want to have go look at some of the videos that are on my page where there's testimonials, for example. So if somebody's talking about, that they had an intimate experience, intimate as in a group intimate. Just saying.
What sort of treats do you run,
then we were able to transition and pop up a picture of that person in that environment. So that's a transition as well. So transition of boxes versus transitions of, or you get some of these cartoony ones where there's a transition of the actual just catching now. What do you recommend for video length for social media?
That's a good question.
Great question. Video length for social media. Are you doing a live or are you actually putting up a video for somebody to watch? Social media, mostly around your 3 minutes. If you're doing a live, it needs to be at least 3 minutes. The reason being, when you go live, Facebook will go, where's all her friends? Where's all her friends? And they'll go and try and find them and alert them that you're actually doing a live. So if you go on and do a 10-second live and come off, Facebook hasn't even looked for those people, so they can't show them. Depending, a bit of both. It depends on what the purpose of the video is. So if it is something that is really informational, so it's going to teach somebody something, then it's longer. If it's something that is a marketing type video to get somebody into something, then 2-3 minutes still, and you can be amazed. We did some stuff in 50 and cut it down to 15 seconds. Oh my God. Because again, our mind works so fast. So you'd be amazed at what you can do. We made an intro, yeah.
And I was just watching something on Facebook this morning, and it was just too long between transitions, and I could see what they were trying to achieve, but it was like, just shortened it by, a couple of seconds would have just, again, kept that energy going and kept what I think they were trying to achieve to come through in the messaging.
So again, if, we're doing this now, usually it ends up being 20 minutes to half an hour, because it's a content Facebook Live. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you, because we want to give value and we're here to educate and to give some more. When I do lives, sometimes when I'm out and about, I do some crazy lives. It might be chickens, ducks, geese, you don't know what's on it. But they will all be about 3 minutes or longer. Even when I come back from a walk in the morning, sometimes I have some insights, I'll do that, but I don't do anything less than 3 minutes, because Facebook just can't find the people. So you do yourself a disservice by going on for 10 seconds. That's it. You don't have to always be on. And there's some great tools that you can make videos with your face everywhere without having to be live in front of the camera. And, we all have hang-ups about, believe it or not, I wouldn't even get in front of a camera.
It's taken me like 2 years to do something like this. It's a lot of practice to feel comfortable and confident to do something.
And look at it now. Yeah. I was at an event on Saturday night, and it was a fundraising event. I was there, blah, blah, blah. And people were taking photos for promos. I was in every one of them. But
caramel everywhere.
Caramel everywhere. Excuse me.
Voice.
But at the end of the night, there was a draw happening, and the person that would normally do the draw had to leave. And somebody came over and said, Carmel will do it. She always gets on the mic. So I was brought up, put in front of the people as an authority, if you like, on the microphone to just do a draw. So that's what happens when people start seeing you showing up and using your voice. So you can use your voice without using your voice initially, in terms of you can use your story, you can use your images, you can use your transitions in a way that will bring people in and get to know you. So it's a safe way to start.
It is. I think my first video that I put out was just a black screen with white writing.
All right.
It might have been the reverse, actually. But it was so simple. And that was just learning a software program. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can put in a text box and I can learn how to do a flip.
Right.
And I put some quite powerful emotional music with that. And then it was just telling a story. And I got some good feedback on it, because it was so simple. It was just words and a plain background, but it was the music, which is a whole nother aspect of videos that we could talk about.
You'll have to tune in next week.
That helps elicit an emotional experience for the watcher.
And an extra tip here with music, which we'll talk about deeper at another stage, you need to be very careful of copyright. And the same with images. Do not just, Google, find an image and put it out anywhere. Because if you're going to level up your business and become even more professional, then you stand the chance of actually being fined or sued or all sorts of things for copyright. So you don't want to be doing that. So that's why you go to the sites that do it. And there are some sites that have free music too, or some programs you buy that have music in them. So don't just, find your favorite song and go and put that on your video. While it sounds amazing, that's not really cool to do. But we can go into that. So I see some people coming on now. Guys, go back and watch this. We've covered images, we've covered story, and we've covered transitions within videos for you here. If there's any other questions that you have right now, please ask them. If not, #replay, ask the question, and we'll make sure myself or Sarah get back in and we answer that for you. So guys, just wait now. I'm thinking somebody might be furiously typing a question right now. Thanks for hanging in, for those of you who did. I'm off to Vegas tomorrow. If you're in Brisbane, by the way, I'm speaking in Brisbane tomorrow, all about nailing your niche. Really expensive. Really
exciting.
Really exciting was the word I was trying to say. It's a really expensive trip, is what I'm thinking. So I will be coming. We'll be coming to you next Monday. I'm sure Sarah will probably be here again, and our pleasure. Gisela. I'm not sure how to pronounce her. Gisela. Sorry, Gisela. glasses. See, I hope that this has been of benefit to you. Tune in next Monday. We're going to be talking about videos for another couple of weeks. Then we're going to dig deep into copy, how to write copy, and we have an expert in the room, and the words and how important they are, and all of that sort of stuff, guys. So there's so much stuff here. If you have any questions, let us know. Have a look on the page or on my business page at any of the videos. If you see, you know, tell us what you think. There's some intro stuff. There's some with transitions. We've played around with it because we're just playing around to see what people like and what they don't like as well. And any questions about videos, pop them in here. Remember, if you're in Perth, for heaven's sake, keep the 22nd and the 23rd of February free. Full days, full hands-on. And it's not just us. There's going to be another super duper expert in the room that knows even more than we do. And we know a little bit. So it's going to be hands-on. You're going to have a template of what to do. Like, take it away. It's a high converting, proven template. Take it away with you and actually do it in the room before you go to. So if you're in Perth at all, let us know. We'll shoot you the link and get in that bloody room, because it's just crazy value that's in it. So for now, it's
Bye from us.
bye from us.